and now very much in that title picture, and he's kind enough to join us right now via the magic of Skype. Curtis, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you guys having me back.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you're coming off that big win, and I want to talk to you about that big win. But I also did see you, write about Kobe Bryant on your social media. So I just wanted to ask how you're doing and how you're processing this news and what he meant to you.
Um, I mean, it was like you guys were just talking about. It's a pretty weird thing to like see scrolling across my phone, getting the updates. Initially, like everyone else, I thought it was fake news, but then when it was like being con- confirmed by like legitimate ESPN reporters, I knew it was real, and it took about a day but really to like process. I was with my dad and my brothers, and they're all like pretty big basketball fans. So we were just having discussions about it all day. Uh, and Kobe Bryant to me, he just embodied like hard work. That's all I ever hear about him. Like the Mamba mentality, everything about him was basketball, basketball, basketball. Uh, he was very driven. He's very detail oriented. He didn't leave anything up to his chance. He worked on all his weaknesses. He didn't really have any weaknesses, and that's why, because he was always in the gym, always putting up shots and everything. And I know the world's gonna be little less bright over the next couple of days as everyone just realizes and accepts that he's no longer with us, and we lost a legend.
Amen. Yeah, thank you for that. I couldn't agree more. It does feel like everything is a little darker today. But for you on Saturday, what a great win. What a great performance. Like I said, 3 in a row. Would you say right now this is the best that you've ever been in your career, that it's all coming together for you now?
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. All those all those years doing striking with my striking coach, you guys are really you're gonna get to see the evolution of my hands. They've been growing for years now, but it wasn't until this weekend that I was like forced into having to use them because I'm always gonna go with option A wrestling. If I can take you down, that's what I'll do. But Junior wasn't allowing that. We adjusted, and I think the fact that I hadn't used my hands much in previous fights was I think that's what made it easier for me to really blossom. He wasn't prepared for me to have a plan B. I think his plan was to evade me until I got frustrated into making a mistake and just doing like a blind or ugly takedown attempt that would give him that easy uppercut. But I was I remained composed and I knew that my opportunity would be there as long as I kept moving my head and high on and pumping. I knew something would open up.
When plan A wasn't working initially, were you surprised? Like, did you think you would have an easier time taking him down?
Yeah, I won't lie to you. I knew Junior had a amazing takedown defense, but I believed in my takedown offense. I believed I could get him down. So initially, it was a bit discouraging after like going 0 for 4 in that first round. It was a little discouraging, but I looked at my coach, Vinny Lopez, and he was smiling. He said I was beating him on the feet. And you know, when you're in there, you don't really process everything. You can't tell if you're winning all the time. But to hear from him, and he's always 100 with me. He won't give me no BS. To hear that I was beating Junior on the feet, I think it made me a little more aggressive with the hands. I was like, okay, if I'm landing, then I'll look to land the heavy one now.
Obviously, you're happy. You beat a former champion. You've now won 3 in a row. I get all that. But is it a bit of a confusing time, for lack of a better word, because you're not really quite sure? I mean, even DC, who's trying to get that title shot, isn't really quite sure where he stands. And Stipe's status is a little bit up in the air. His health status is up in the air. Is it kind of weird to not know like what exactly this win gets you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been on a pretty clear trajectory. I've always had a plan. It's always been like a, a next move. We've always been able to like project at least one fight ahead. But after this fight, like you said, the heavyweight division at the after you get past Derek Lewis is it's pretty hazy. And yeah, that all rests on Stipe's decisions. I know he's got the injury. I know he's going to be out for a little while, but it would be nice if he would make a decision at least, give us some sort of concrete timeline, like a plan. Like, who does he want? If he wants DC, that's fine. I have no problem waiting. But we don't even know if he wants DC. We don't know what he wants. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit annoying, frustrating because I have a lot of respect for Steve. We've trained together previously, but I didn't envision him being the type of champion to create a logjam like this. So it feels like he's just soaking up the spotlight, which is well within his right. But in order to be the champion, a champion has to fight. He has to defend the belt. He has to continue to prove that he's the champion. Right now, it's been it'll be a year before he steps back in the octagon, and that's to me that's just too long. Um, I think if it gets to like June or July and he still hasn't made a decision, I'm gonna start calling for defend it or vacate. Like, no disrespect to him, I think he's a amazing fighter, a really good dude. But this is my prime. I don't have time to wait for old men to soak up the limelight. You need to get out of the way, make room for new blood.
If they do finally decide to go with Stipe versus DC3, perhaps in the summertime, what makes most sense to you?
Then
For yourself, of course.
if that was the decision, which is that would be great. I would assume that there would be a number one contender fight between me and the winner of Ngannou and Jairzinho. So I would be. That's the only thing I can really think of. Because I'm not going after guys right below me anymore. I'm not going for a Volkov. I'm not going for Derek Lewis. I only want um, number one contender fight or Stipe. Those are the only options for me.
So I'm wondering about that scenario because I agree that would make the most sense. But of course, you have fought Ngannou twice and he beat you twice. So is there a part of you that is hoping that he wins so that you can right that wrong? Or do you feel like you actually have a better chance of getting the number one contender fight if Jairzinho wins? Because I feel like I can foresee a scenario where Ngannou wins and he's like, no, I'm not going to fight the guy who I beat twice. I'm just going to sit and wait. So what do you actually think is better for you?
Well, yeah, I would go with the latter. Jairzinho wins.
Yeah.
That's the perfect storm because especially after watching him go against Alistair, my training partner right now. Alistair he was winning the entirety of that fight. And I still think he won. I think that was a premature stoppage, but it is what it is. But based off watching that fight, I'm supremely confident I will be able to destroy Jairzinho.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best case scenario for you, and he's looked good. So you're saying you're not all that impressed with what he's done?
I'm not at all. He beat Alan Crowder with a jab, and no offense, but you're not gonna jab me and knock me down on my butt. And then he beat um, what, what was the other guy? He
Arlovsky?
beat Alaska. That was he beat him with a backwards swinging hook shot. You're not dropping me with that. It's just I don't want to say he's getting like lucky, but he's getting some guys with some glass jaws. I know I've gone against a couple guys with glass jaws, but he's really getting by with some glass jaw guys, you know. And then I know we don't like to do MMA math, but um, we saw what I did to Alistair, and then we saw how long it took for him to finally hit, like really hit Alistair. It took him 5 rounds, like the entirety of 5 rounds to really hit Alistair. So I just think there's levels to this, and I think my striking is way better than his. I think my overall MMA game is way better than his. I know he can't wrestle, so I don't see his avenue to victory against me.
I know that last year in particular, we were talking about some new gyms. There's gyms like AKA and ATT and Jackson Wink and TriStar that we've been talking about for some time. But last year, it seemed like Fortis MMA really started to come into its own, and of course, City Kickboxing out of New Zealand. Not a lot of talk about Team Elevation, and I feel like there should be more talk about what you guys are doing in Denver, with not only you, of course, leading the charge, but Drew Dober doing what he did last weekend, Corey Sandhagen, who was sort of the forgotten man. You have Neil Magny, of course, who's been there for a while, Justin Gaethje, who has trained out of there, great coaches like Elliot Marshall and the other coaching staff. Do you feel like it's time that more people start talking about you guys as one of the elite gyms in the sport?
Yes, I've been waiting because we don't have the type of guys who like to beat their chest and toot their own horn. Like you just gave the list of names. I'm one of those guys is a me, look at what I'm doing type of guy. None of us is really going to promote ourselves, which that might be that's our own fault. We have to do more. We have to do a better job of promoting our gym because it helps the gym. The more publicity we get, the better the gym does, and that's on us. But we've been building and grinding for at least since I've been there for 3.5 years, and the improvements that I've seen in the gym across the board, especially with guys like Corey saying, "Hey, I watched him in LFA. I watched him grow. I watched his hands grow. I mean, I've watched him turn into the monster he is. And a lot of people don't, like you said, they don't know who he is. He's a forgotten man, but he might be the most dangerous bantamweight in the game, you know. And I really believe in the coaching staff and the principles that we promote at the gym. It's very family oriented. It's very from the top all the way down to the bottom. Everyone helps everyone else. There's no there's no nobody feels that they're above the other. We're all equals from Magny to Gaethje to me. No one no one thinks they can make their own rules. There's no favorites. Everyone's equal. I just love that. It's very team oriented. It reminds me almost of like a college, like how
Hmm.
we all root for each other. We're always down to travel and watch each other. It's very uh, close knit, and I think that's the strength of our gym.
Austin Hubbard, another name. And by the way, I just wanted to make clear, I wasn't trying to put Sandhagen down. I'm a big Corey
Oh no
Sandhagen
no no.
fan. I just think that last week he was forgotten because we all remember he was supposed to be the co-main, and I wasn't really pleased with what happened to him with that situation. So hopefully he can get a big fight and get back on track as well. Curtis, I appreciate the time very much. Congratulations. I hope you get what you want next. It's been amazing to see what you've done in your last 3 fights in particular and throughout your UFC run. It seems like you just continue to get better each and every time out there. So congrats on the win. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.